Hey Kiko, do you remember our chat about why we should worry so much about the haunts back when we were at Old Myers?
Not really.
Oh right, that's the night you drank too much and I had to carry you to bed.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Could you tell me more? You said the bandits were controlled by the haunts. What did you mean by that?
Well, truth is, we don't know for sure, but they got far more coordinated about 20 years ago. It really turned the tide of the war. Previously, they were more of just a nuisance and would typically only attack caravans searching for valuable loot. But gradually they began starting to attack villages and eventually cities. We managed to push them back in the north, but I think our efforts there left us much too vulnerable in the east for the haunts to attack. I've heard rumours, especially before the war ended, that there was some sort of bandit leader that was bringing them together. Of course, nobody in our kingdom knew for sure. Something like that would definitely attract the attention of the Grand Council, and it would have brought them into the war to stop the bandits and probably the haunts too. But unfortunately, that's just a mystery that we don't know anything about. But what about you, Ernest? You never really told me anything about where you're from.
That's a long story for another day.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the 7th episode of the Medieval Rimworld series. I'm excited to be back and play more Rimworld with you guys, and I'm also excited to announce a few new mods on the mod list. First of all, we've got the Medieval Adventures Hunt mod, as well as the Medieval Adventures Prosthetics mod that allow you to add some really cool prosthetics from some of the medieval creatures. These will come with an additional mod, which is the Custom Quest Framework, which is needed for them. I've updated the mod list to include these now, so if you're playing along, please go and check it out. These are some really cool mods that we're going to give a bit of a go today. I've also added for myself this little simple checklist mod. I can add the link in the description if you guys want. It's just a little checklist for me on the side to just sort of see what I need to do. But with that, I just wanted to say I also did a slight bit of building off camera. It was really only this new farm section, which I sort of already showed at the end of last episode. We really needed to get our food situation sorted out, as in maybe 2 of the last 3 videos, it's sort of been affected by not having enough food in the colony. But with all of that boring food talk out of the way, let's get into some fun stuff. The first thing being building a jewelry bench. We can see some of the items here, made of ruby, sapphire, emeralds, etc. But for now, we're just going to go with some amber necklaces and rings, as we've got plenty of amber, and we can begin to sell these or trade them for other valuable items. Our production of these jewels was interrupted by recruiting a new member, that being Beltran from a couple of episodes ago. It took ages to convert her, but I think she was well worth it, as she's a Death Knight, which gives her some interesting abilities like Wave of Fear and Lifesteal and Gravity Blade. I think these are all meant to be a bit of a mix of magical and melee attacks, as I think this is actually a melee class, or at least is considered that by the Rimworld of Magic mod. We're pretty glad to have her here. I'm excited to test out her abilities. Moving on, our big focus for today is going to be making a big push in the research tree so that we can get up to mining and get some of these mine shafts to gather more granite for a special project, as well as some more precious jewels for jewelry and stuff like that. Speaking of mines, we would get to work on one to host our future mine shaft. I want it to look like a proper live mine, so we're going to get a couple of these log pillars and some torches put in to give it that real mine-like feel. We've also included a little entrance just in case of infestations so they don't get out. It was during this construction that Ernest and Edmund arrived back from their little raid with the spoils of carrots, which all of our hungry people, I'm assuming, were very happy about. You know what, guys, sometimes in these videos the pieces just fall into place, as when we were basically just talking about infestations, we got a quest to lure 7 hives into our new mine in exchange for some valuable items. We're going to hold off on this one for now, as I'm pretty sure if we accept, the infestation will come straight away, but I am quite intrigued by that Emerald Benevolence bow. Perhaps it was the potential impending buggy doom that made Kiko realize he wanted to marry Chandelise, or at least propose to her. That way, if he ends up getting dragged into a hive, at least she'll know how much he loves him, even if they don't end up getting married at the new marriage spot we put down. We figured with them living together soon, and Carlson also staying with Chance, we should probably build them a proper house, so they could all live together. Might be a little bit awkward with Bjorn, but that's his problem. Across the river, we decided to build it just across from the main hall. I think it turned out pretty nice in the end. I think it looks really cozy. As we were nearing the house's completion, we finished our engineering research, which unlocks components and is really the basis for all of the most advanced machines in the medieval overhaul. I also realized after finishing this that I needed an advanced research bench to unlock mining, so we decided to delve into the alchemy research, which unlocks said advanced research bench. There's also so much other cool stuff with the alchemy that it unlocks, so we're going to have to take a look into some of that pretty soon. At this time, the prisoner we took, known as Blue, decided she wanted to rebel and try to escape. Of course we couldn't have this, so we had Valor come out and slap her across the face with his elephant spear a little bit, knocking her down, taking her back in. I also decided it was time to give our new recruit, Dolly Beltran, a proper name, giving her the name Ahsoka, which was suggested by Jonathan H6021. I was reluctant to give her this name at first, as I really strongly associate the name with the Star Wars character, but figured they're both good melee fighters, so I guess it's fitting. We would also notice that the failed balloon pilot we had helped a couple episodes back, Larry, has now woken up. We're going to need a name for him too, so if you got any, please leave them in the comment section below. But no more focusing on Larry, because apparently we have bugs that are trying to come and kill us. These aren't the ones from the quest though. I had our warriors assemble outside of the mine as we began to hear cracking coming from inside. We would quickly get Ernest to release some spirit wolves in there, backing up and giving them a chance to weaken the bugs for us. Icemaw would really begin to show his power here, stepping in front to face the bugs head on. I think he might have just been hungry actually. Either way, this allowed our archers to hit the bugs from behind. Thanks to Icemaw's efforts, we're going to let him have whatever choice of bug meat he wants for dinner tonight. Now that we had pretty successfully dealt with this infestation, we decided to just call another one in, because what's some more bugs? I was pretty excited as we would get a lot of adamantite from accepting the quest, and the pretty cool bow. I realized pretty soon though that this was way more bugs than the previous group that had appeared. They began bursting out, and the cave was just absolutely full of them. We decided it would be best to put a couple of castle wall embrasures down and destroy the wooden ones behind them, so our archers could attack the bugs without endangering themselves. We would need as many people here as we could muster to defeat the insect horde. Just in case they break through, we decided to bring everyone down. Our archers would move into position, attacking the wooden walls, opening the bugs up to attacks from both Ernest's magic and Icemaw's fire breath. This would assist in burning down these chitinous monstrosities. To be honest, the bears were the real MVPs, taking the brunt of the damage while Icemaw just kind of stood there and watched. This was a tough fight, but it was all worth it when we received our reward, especially for Ernest, who we gave the special bow to. Establishing a bond with the verdant bow, meaning nobody else can wield it from now on. Now that the excitement has died down, we got back into research, finishing alchemy off, which would allow us to create an advanced research bench. But first, we'd disassemble the caravan ruins that we have in our area to gather some of the required basic components for said research bench, which Danders would go ahead and craft in our storage room, only to have it moved into Kiko's room, allowing him to continue his studies. These studies, of course, being the mining research that we wanted to do all episode, and can do now that we have this advanced research bench. While he got to work, we'd get to work converting one of our rooms and extending it into a proper food storage area, equipped with plenty of shelving, barrels, and an icebox that will keep the temperature down. I felt this was necessary as we've really been struggling with food recently, so being able to store some for the winter will be really important. But of course, we'll need somewhere to produce all of the ice that keeps the room cool, and of course somewhere to store it as well, at least when it's not cooling the room. So we decided to build a small area outside with an ice cellar, ice melting blocks, and a well so we could gather and produce all the ice we could ever need. Once that was finished, we finally completed our goal for the episode, finishing our mining research, and you guessed it, we would build a mine shaft straight away. And look, Kiko has already mined our first sapphire to add to the collection from the meteor. We're going to help anybody who decides to go mining out by installing this mining crane, which provides a speed boost by helping lift resources out from deep inside the earth. With that goal realized, we would move on to some more simple research, that being basic blades. Now, Larry didn't seem to like this, and he decided to give up on our colony, which we couldn't have this sort of treachery around these parts. So we decided to capture him and begin converting him for good measure. Despite Larry's objections, we would quickly finish the research for basic blades. Now, onto something that some of you might have already been expecting. I present to you Ernest the Wizard. Doesn't he look dashing with his wizard's hat, cape, and green-coloured coat to match his bow? We're now going to consider him the colony's first official wizard, and if we were to ever develop a magical order in the colony, he'll definitely be leading that in the future. To celebrate getting his new apparel, we would send him out on a journey to some nearby ruins with Ahsoka and Nia to do some exploring. I thought maybe he could teach them about a bit of magic while they were on the way there. Although something weird happened when they made it to the location. It seems like the quest tried to despawn or something like that. Not sure if this was a bug or if we just arrived right when the quest ended. Either way, we decided that while we were out here, we should search for some magical creatures to hunt, going with some Daer. Not sure if it was the fact that we have a few magical people in the group or if it was just luck. It seemed like it was really easy to find the Daer den not far away. We quickly entered and could see that the den was located in a large cavern in a mountain. Approaching, one of the Daer saw us, prompting us to begin attacking. The spirit wolves would do their best, but they were only powerful enough to take one of the beasts down. Ahsoka would also use her gravity blade attack, doing some damage. The second Daer got closer, engaging Nia and Ahsoka in melee combat, knocking out Nia before it began to retreat. We would take this opportunity to rescue her and give our injured warriors a good chance to heal. It seems like these Daer were doing the same as they had gone back to rest inside of their cave. Ernest, with his newfound confidence, probably from the awesome clothes we've given him, decided with his two bears that he could go and finish the job that we had already started, heading back up toward the cave entrance. He would fire off magical attacks and hit the creatures from a distance with his magical bow, downing one and causing the other to rush him. He would have his bears come in to defend him, retreating to safety, continuing to fire arrow after arrow until it was finally killed. He would begin tending to his bears while Ahsoka would come back up, finishing off the Daer and discovering this bloody letter hidden within some of the rocks. As we prepared to depart, we would read the letter. It said, "To your majesty, the reports are right. The Daer ate our soldiers. Our best and brightest don't know what could have made these animals so aggressive. I decided to find out myself. Tracked the Daer to its cave. Fascinating creatures. I saw it drag down a soldier, not ours. The behavior of the animal was strange. It didn't eat the soldier. It played with it. Tortured it. He's still alive. I will save him and find out what makes him so aggressive." It's a bit chilling really, this note, so we decided to head out. Back at home, it seems Chantalise has fallen pregnant with her second child. This makes me glad we built the home for her and Kiko when we did, as they're going to have an expanding family now. When everybody had arrived back home, we decided it was time to fortify this place a little bit, since who knows what the Haunts or bandits are up to. We decided to start by constructing a wall in the north of the base. It's not much as it's just made out of wood, and it'll take a while to build, so I won't bore you guys with a construction time-lapse for this one. Although it seems we certainly won't have it ready for the next raid, as we're getting one from the House of Celestia right now. They were split in the north and south, with Ernest heading to the southern bridge to face them alone. He would fire spirit wolves, which took out almost their entire group, one by one, until only a single combatant remained that decided to begin fleeing, but even they wouldn't escape. Meanwhile, the northern squad was facing down a fierce lightning mage who had bolts raining from the heavens. I was quite worried that one of them was going to get hit and someone would die from the lightning, but luckily we managed to get some people attacking her to prevent any more spells from being used before that happened. Kiko would knock her down and take her prisoner after we had finished off the remaining combatants. She's pretty good with animals and crafting. I think she'd make a good apprentice to Ernest perhaps. If you guys could leave names in the comments for her, that would be much appreciated. But with that battle finished, I'm going to leave it here for this episode. Thank you all once again for joining me for another episode inside the Medieval Rimworld series. I'm going to try and make the episodes slightly longer. I hope today was a bit of a better length, maybe around the 15-16 minute mark, rather than the sort of 12-13 that we've had in some of the previous episodes. If you guys are okay with that, of course. But that's it from me for today. See you all in the next episode. Catch you later.